Hi, my name is Ari Satz. Many of you know me as the Get Refuser from Bergen County. I was listening to a shir recently by Rabbi Yitzchak Breidowitz from Or Sameach, and he said something that is completely applicable to today. He said that so many people go after obscure chumras to follow because they want to feel special. They want to find something that separates them from the crowd. Just to follow the Torah has become a thing of the past. He says, however, that this comes from a certain amount of arrogance. To follow a chumrah that no one has ever heard of just to separate yourself from the crowd, because there's no glory these days just to follow the Torah. These people want to feel special, and with the help of the Yetzer Hara, it leads to a distortion of the Torah. This is exactly what we have going on today. You have the Beis Din of America, you have Ora, all wanting to be heroes in the world of women when it comes to this Aguna movement, and they absolutely have the help of the Yetzer Hara, and they violate Torah law. They lie, they speak Lashon Hara, and it all comes from one place, arrogance. They allow women to go to secular court without a heter erkos. That completely violates the Torah, and they don't stop them. And that is absolutely against Torah law. And it says in the Gemara, if someone is arrogant, Hashem cannot reside in them. This must be stopped. I want to bring up also an incident that happened recently with Flatbush Girl. She was protesting against someone who did not give a get. And she was protesting that he should follow halacha. First of all, the Beis Din was called, and the Beis Din said she had no right to protest. I kind of find it ironic that she wanted someone to follow halacha when she was violating halacha herself. But this is another thing that absolutely amazed me, and I'm surprised nobody's speaking out about this. She was saying how the father wants to take the child away from the mother. And who is she protesting with? I do not know her name, and just so you know, I do not know the story of the case that she's protesting, and I'm not to claim to know the details. But I find it ironic that she's protesting with the blonde lady who doesn't let her children see their father. So let's understand something. The lady who's protesting about a child being taken away from one of the parents doesn't let her children see their father. That's absolutely against halacha, and that's absolutely disgusting that she can sit there and protest. But why isn't anybody protesting against her? Very simple. Because she's a woman, and they don't do anything to a woman when it comes to divorce. But when it comes to a man, you'll see protests all the time, completely against Torah law. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida made a thing called the Father Initiative. And why did he do that? Because he had a friend who was a priest. And this priest went into the prisons to help the prisoners out. And he came out and he said he found one common factor in all the prisoners. It wasn't their social status. It wasn't their economic status. It was the lack of a father figure in their lives. It was the lack of someone saying, hey, you're doing a great job. It was the lack of a role model in their lives. And this is exactly what this lady is doing to her children. I find it funny that people say to me how my children are going to resent me and how my children are going to hate me. What do you think her children are going to think about her? But yet nobody protests. Nobody says anything, and she's out in the public eye because you just let women do whatever they want, absolutely violating Jewish law. Another thing that the Flatbush Girl did, and this is absolutely amazing that she did it publicly, she used a sexual object as a menorah. And she claims because she wants everyone to know the suffering of the agunas. We have a thing called Hidur Mitzvah. It means to beautify a mitzvah. And the exact classic example that the Gemara uses is that would you present this to your governors? So I have a question. If Flatbush Girl had to present something to President Trump in front of thousands of dignitaries, would she say, Mr. President, I present to you a vibrator? And not only that, I present to you a lifetime supply of batteries, so you should know that an aguna's suffering never ends. It's eternal. Do you think President Trump will say, wow, this is such a great... Oh, and it's the extra long version too, with the 3 settings, low, medium, and screw your brains out. Do you think he would say that? Do you think everybody in the crowd would say, oh, that is so thoughtful of you? Or do you think him, along with everybody else, would just think you're off your rocker? There are people who spend tens of thousands of dollars on a menorah to beautify the mitzvah, to present before Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu only the best, and you've degraded the mitzvah by presenting it on a vibrator. I don't know what raised you, but that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And you should be ashamed of yourself that you showed this off in public. Your lights might be on, but there's absolutely nobody home. And why is nobody speaking out against you? Because you do the bidding of the rabbis. You help their agunas. Simple reason. And just so everybody knows about my situation, I'm sure some of you know that I got my 3rd hazmana from the Beis Din of America, the same Beis Din that I got all my other ones from, not any other Beis Din. And we went to Sachtas Harabonim, the CRC in Williamsburg. And once my ex heard that she'd have to pay for damages, and the Beis Din said that all the rabbis who lied are going to have to be in the paper as liars, you know what she did? She never came back. And why is there no uproar against her to follow Torah law, to do the right thing? Because once again, a woman can get away with violating Torah law and lying. But I could tell you, I don't know how this get will ever be kosher. Because right now, if I'd be lying my brains out to say I'm giving with my free will. After all the lies you put me through, and after all the torture you put my family through, I'd be lying if I would say I'm giving my free will. So, I've seen comments to my videos that say, oh, your kids are suffering. Yeah, my kids are suffering because nobody's stopping her. Nobody's stopping the lies that everybody's telling. That's why my kids are suffering. And I've seen the comments, oh, just give the get and move on with your life. I'm sorry. I really can't move on with my life. Not after all the money she stole and not after what she did to my reputation. I'm sorry. I can't go on. So unless somebody wants to have this bright idea as, hey, maybe we should follow Jewish law and enforce the Jewish law onto the women, just like we're enforcing or lying about the men, then maybe something will change. But until then, nothing is going to change. So you could scream all you want at me, as long as you want. Nothing's going to happen until you follow Jewish law. And that goes for everybody. Stop listening to these rabbis who are lying, because it's not going to make a difference when it comes to Yom HaDin. Because you could go up there and you could say, well, I followed this rabbi, and God's going to say, well, you're not supposed to follow him. You're supposed to follow me. And you're supposed to know the difference because you're supposed to learn Torah. So take today and start learning Torah, learning what the right answer is, and start speaking up. Because you're going to be held responsible at the end of days. I wish you all the best. Thank you.